So let's take a look at while loops. And we'll take a look at just the kind of the structure behind it, and then later we'll write some programs where we actually utilize while loops. So let's start off by creating another variable called number1. Let's make that equal to 0. And let's take a look at also at how we can read in input. So what we'll say is while num1 is not equal to, oops, let's get that back into these. While num1 is not equal to 5, we're going to run this where we say enter a number. Let's give our self a space, and let's end the line here so that we receive our input on the next line. And then what we can do is actually kind of keep this all in the same family. Let's put it all inside of our brackets. Okay, and then so what we can do now is we're just going to ask the user to enter a number. So how do we actually receive input? Well, there's also a console input, cin here, and what we'll read in is num1. So while num1 is not equal to 5, we're going to keep asking it to enter a number, then we're going to enter a number, and then we're going to come back and rechecking the statement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control F5 here. Let's take a look at this. So it says enter a number. So I'm going to enter 6. It's going to say enter a number. So it's kind of like a guessing. And then I enter 5, and it exits the application. So it's sort of like a guessing game. Let's take a look at another type of loop called the do-while loop. So I'm going to type this from scratch. So what we're going to do is write the word do, and then open close curly braces. We want to do something while a specific condition is true. So while num1 is greater than, we'll say less than 5, what we're going to do is, let's make sure we don't forget our semicolon. While num1 is less than 5, we want to do something in here. So what I can do is, I can go ahead and say, I can print out whatever num1 currently is, which is 0. I'll end that line and go to the next line. And then I could say num1 equals num1 plus 1. So what it'll do is every time it runs through the loop, it'll add 1 to 0. And then as it runs through again, it'll run to 2. I'm going to go ahead and just sort of show you a couple ways of shorthand notationing adding 1. If you type num1 plus plus, that'll add 1 to it. You can also write num1 plus equals 1. And that's the same way of, like, if you imagine dropping the equal sign and duplicating num1, it's a shorthand way of writing this. So you have both of those. So let's go ahead and hit Control F5 to run through this, make sure that we get a clean build going. And you can see we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what it's doing is it's continuously checking. Is num1, so we start off at 0. So num1, we see out 0. Num1, which is 0, equals num1, 0 plus 1. So that puts us as 1. Is 1 less than 5? Yes. So we continuously running through our loops checking this. I suggest you write it out on paper too if this was a little confusing. And then what I normally do is I plug in each one of these numbers to see how it works.